channel.
Hey, you know what time it is? No press film. Welcome everyone to another episode of The Beatdown, the segment and channel where two worlds collide. I am your host, Class. And as always, guys, if you guys enjoy our content, you know what you guys can do. You can share, you can like, or you can subscribe to our channel. When you guys subscribe to our channel, you know what you do. You guys are building our empire and allowing us to provide you guys with even much more greater content for you guys to enjoy. And on today's episode, entering the beatdown arena, we decided we're going to be talking about some characters that have some really interesting and incredible powers. And I'm going to start things off by representing DC Comics and talking about the brief origin story of Firestorm. Two separate origins that become one. Ronnie Raymond was an athlete who just moved to a new school and wanted to fit in with other kids. He wanted to also impress this girl he liked, so he joined an activist group that wanted to destroy a nuclear power plant. The second origin comes from the brilliant scientist Dr. Martin Stein, who at the time was working at the plant on some experiments. Turns out the activist group was about to blow up the power plant, and Ronnie had second thoughts. While they found the doctor, they tied him up and decided to tie Ronnie up with him. The plant explodes, and with all the chemicals forming around them, they become one being known as Firestorm. While Ronnie took the wheel when it came to using their abilities, it was Professor Stein who provided Ronnie a brilliant mind to use during battle. Alright, now let's get into the BAF, shall we? Threw down with Captain Atom. Made a cage out of kryptonite, out of thin air, to trap Superman. If he creates something, it will remain long after he's gone, unlike Green Lanterns who need to be alive and concentrating on their construct to stay intact. Defeated Swamp Thing when he covered the entire planet. Can create anything out of thin air using literally just oxygen. And last point, Professor Stein states that Firestorm has the power to create a second universe as he contains the energy of the Big Bang itself. Shout out to all my content supporters. Not working together, but we like to give credit where credit is due. Ivan the Unstoppable for all the knowledge of comic feats. Watch Mojo for origins and for all the background videos. Comic Historian, Comics Explained, and Key Issues. Go ahead and check them out and tap into the world of comics by supporting other creators. Link to channels will be in the description below. Alright, so let's talk about the end game. How Firestorm would defeat, you can call her Photon, Spectrum, Captain Marvel. She was originally the first Captain Marvel, so you know there's a whole bunch of layers of which direction you can go about this, but if you want to get technical, it would be technically Captain Marvel. We're just going to go with Photon for today. Now, if Firestorm were to go against Photon, there are a couple arguments you can make. For starters, is the fact that yes, Monica Rambeau is a smart woman herself, but I don't think she has the scientific mind of Dr. Stein. I do believe Dr. Stein is much more brilliant, which means he probably has a more strategical mind to help Firestorm during a jam, or Ronnie during a situation. Like, he's like that second set of eyes that can help him during a fight against someone like Photon. So Monica Rambeau can actually really defeat Ronnie, because Dr. Stein will always be there to find a certain way to counteract certain techniques and moves, and on top of that, maybe at some point know how to put Photon down for the count in this sort of way. Firestorm has the capabilities of creating anything out of thin air, meaning that out of oxygen, which means like the Earth's atmosphere is pretty much his playground for any kind of weapon he wants to. He can create a building, he can create lead, he can create weapons from anything. So I think during a fight against her, he could use at a moment notice to surprise her with the element of surprise, using that technique and trap her in certain cages. Now obviously Monica Rambeau or Photon, aka Photon, might be able to escape a few of them, but at some point one of those cages might stick. All it just needs is Professor Stein's mind and Ronnie to work together to keep trapping her, and they can keep doing that. They have endless supply of weaponry, considering air is around them, and as long as there's still like any bit of air that he can use out of thin air, he can use it to create any kind of cage and just keep working on it until something actually works out. Okay, let's make the other two arguments. So well, let me just make it clear. Like, if you want to say they're Firestorm for this and that, well, look, there's a couple things we have to compare. They both can phase through things. They both can absorb energy. They both can use energy in certain particular ways. So it's not easy to say that both of them will overmatch each other in any kind of way. There's always going to be something that's going to bring that extra dose of a battle advantage against somebody. So that, just putting that out there. So let's talk about Firestorm, for example, the triple mind thing. Now, in the comics, apparently Ronnie and Professor Stein decided to add a little extra somebody into their roster, so the third mind, and they join together. Now with these three, they become like an extra super Firestorm, so he's like extra boosted up. And I believe in this element, he in the comics they say he can't be defeated by any other element in this level. So I do believe even with Photon's great powers, it's still an element which of course Firestorm could probably counteract or overpower at some point during a fight, or maybe absorb the energy from Monica Rambeau or aka Photon in this, with the three minds in his corner. Now the last thing I'll add is the wild card. Now in the comics it says Dr. Stein says he has the power of the Big Bang to create a second universe. If he wanted to, he could throw the entire kitchen sink, meaning that he could actually burst himself into that Big Bang power, shoot it off on Monica. Now you might think, oh well, this would end Ronnie and Dr. Stein. No, that's not true. Actually, they can survive the blast. Everything else, however, wouldn't be able to survive it. So imagine a full power of the Big Bang thrown at you. Monica Rambeau is powerful, and or Photon or Spectrum or Captain Marvel, wherever you want to put it, she's powerful. But to take a full-on blast of the entire Big Bang right at you, I don't think anything is that great. You have to be a celestial to take that kind of hit, maybe. So I gotta say, with that being that in mind, I do believe that Firestorm has this one in the bag. Alright, and on this corner, I'll be talking about the brief origin story of Marvel Comics' own Monica Rambeau, aka Captain Marvel, aka Spectrum, aka Photon. Monica Rambeau was turned down again for a leading role in the military and was fed up by her superior denying her career advancements because she's a woman, even though Monica was better than the candidates who were promoted before her. She makes her way to her room to find an old friend of her grandfather, Professor Andre Leclerc, who asks her to help him with something important. The professor devised a process for drawing energy from the other universes and dimensions, and found out a powerful South American dictator had plans of his own to use it as a weapon. The professor tried to convince the dictator of the repercussions, but he was set in his ways. He doesn't finish his work and leaves the mess for someone else to figure out, giving him time to ask for assistance. He believes Monica might be able to help since she is a little out of the box with her methods, and she does. She decides to go undercover as a sort of damsel in distress to convince the men on the boat who had the experimental machine there with them to allow her on board. From there, she was close enough to the machine before her cover was blown, and she smashed it with her own fist, causing an explosion which hits Monica with photon energies from other universes and dimensions. The energy then teleports her to New Orleans at a storage facility where she stumbled across costumes, clothing from Mardi Gras, and put something together. She then takes the time to feel her newfound powers that possesses the universal and dimensional levels, which makes her the first human Captain Marvel. Now, just as an extra fun fact, how did she get all these names? Well, let's start off with Captain Marvel was first her name, and then Marvel was like the original alien who owned the name was like, yo, you know, my parents gave me that name, so I should deserve it. She was like, all right, I'll change my name to Photon. Makes more sense because obviously I have energies of photons, and it just makes sense. Okay, so it started off like that, and then eventually it's weird because in the comics, again, he's like, I don't want to be known as Captain Marvel because I don't want my name to be known as my family's name. I want to have my own individuality. So he asks his Monica Rambeau again to switch her name from Photon now to Spectrum. So that's all a weird story. But anyways, beside the point, let's get into the BAF, shall we? So here are the feats. She can mimic magic with her energy. Yeah. She can shapeshift into any superhero or villain if she wanted to. That's crazy. This is impressive. She can actually dodge with her phasing Zeus's lightning. Even though it hit everyone else, she was capable of phasing through it. She can enter into Scarlet Witch's body. That's possessing her body. That's saying something. She was able to stop a fight between Hercules and Namor. That ain't easy to do. And she is moving so fast that someone attempted to slow down time and achieved it with many others, but not with Monica. She states her lightning speed, even slower, is still much faster than the average speed. Alright, so let's get into the end game. How Monica Rambeau, aka Photon, would be able to defeat Firestorm. Now, Photon has a couple things to her advantage. One of those things is the ability to detect energy coming around her. So anything cosmic wise comes through her like Firestorm, she's going to be able to detect him. So there's no way she would be able to get an element of surprise attack from him in that sort of way. Another thing to add on is the fact that she has military background, hand-to-hand combat experience. If these two were to actually get into a fist fight, it's not going to look well for Firestorm. Firestorm isn't known for hand-to-hand combat more than Monica Rambeau is. Monica Rambeau has military, plus she has the Avengers skills in her background. So in a hand-to-hand fight, let's say they kind of juice themselves up a little bit and it becomes a fist fight, I think she's going to overpower him and beat him down to a pulp before he can even lay a punch on her. Another thing is that she can increase her size based on her energy. So she can become like her own avatar with giant size energy and actually squish probably Firestorm in that way like a bug, because that's always a possibility. Two other points is Monica cannot be really contained. There have been a numerous amount of times in the comics where she is being trapped in some form of powerful cosmic or something that would keep somebody strong enough locked down. But with Monica, that's not the case. It might keep her slowed down for just a moment, but she will eventually break through anything that she gets sealed into. So being sealed into anything is not going to be a possibility to detain her, which means he's going to have to fight her mano a mano. Another thing is speed. Monica, I think, has way more of an impressive background when it comes to speed. I do believe she'll be able to dodge and be able to deliver many blows and punches to Firestorm before Firestorm can react quick enough to either dodge it or to lay a punch back at her. I do believe she has just a tad more speed than he does, considering in the comics it just shows that she can travel pretty fast from other places across space. And now the last point I'll probably make is the Hail Mary of wild cards for Rambeau. Let's say she gets into a fight with Firestorm and Firestorm is having her number in this situation and it's feeling like she's not going to win this fight. She could find one of her own friends of the superhero kind and she can actually fuse with them. That's right, she can fuse with other with other superheroes or villains, whoever she wants to choose, but I'm obviously going to guess she's going to pick a superhero. Like, I don't know, Scarlet Witch or Thor or somebody. So if a friend of hers happens to be around and when she's getting into a fight and she says, hey, yo, I need your help, she can fuse with that person, give that extra boost of energy, power charge, hybrid type of situation, making them extra strong. And then with those two together, they can be the Firestorm versus them situation, two people versus two people. But this time you got two superheroes with amplified powers against two average people with one average power. So imagine, do the number, two super strong power beings against one average power being without two extra steroid out or the triple mind. I do believe that Monica Rambeau might be able to overtake him at some point. So if she picks a partner to join forces with her to help her and assist her in this situation, she will claim victory on Firestorm. She will get that extra nudge she needs in order to get that W. But as always, no press fam, it's not up to me, it's up to you guys. So if you liked either one of my arguments, you know what you can do? You can hashtag Firestorm, or you can hashtag Photon, Monica Rambo, hashtag for Monica Rambo, hashtag Spectrum, either one, or hashtag Captain Marvel. Either way, pick whatever one favors you for that and leave it down in the comment section below. As always, no press fam, we really appreciate you guys keeping it 400 subs. Peace.